Hi, this is the first in a series of relatively short videos, just taking a brief look at the remarkable tours that Prince undertook. Whilst obviously this can only serve as a little snapshot, a vignette of the totality of the live performances Prince managed to create throughout his career, it is something that I feel is important to throw a little spotlight on, discussing how Prince developed his stagecraft, honed his visual style, rehearsed tirelessly and pushed endlessly until he became the world-class performance artist he undoubtedly was. Every tour has 1,000 different experiences. Some are better documented than others. Every person who has ever attended a Prince concert has an experience that they remember so vividly. This little series has just two aims. Firstly, to ensure that all of Prince's live canon is appreciated and explored and enjoyed. And secondly, to act as a little nudge for anyone who has ever attended or even viewed a Prince concert and how that experience resonated with them. Today we start with just a few words about Prince's first tour, named, obviously enough, the Prince Tour. Prince had spent 1978 pulling together his band, which comprised of Bobby Z, Andre Simone, Des Dickerson, Matt Fink and Gal Chapman. Even now it seems apparent the enormous talent within that lineup. This was a huge first test for Prince. Warner Brothers had to be convinced that this unproven live performer could harness the power of a band, train them, drill them, and become the band leader that Warner's needed him to be. Prince was utterly determined from the very beginning, and the endless 10-hour days soon started to rack up. Prince was under considerable pressure, and so with the band. Pepe Willie often acted as a mediator and explained that Prince had the deal, the backing, and they would all benefit by ensuring this band was as tight and disciplined as possible. Parting ways with Owen Husney at this time also added to that pressure, and Prince made his apprehension clear at the time. I'll be terrified because it's going to take a while to block out the fact that there are other people out there. I find it extremely hard to perform for people. I even found it difficult working with the band at first. People were concerned that this shy young man would simply wither under the lights. The moment of truth came on January the 5th, 1979 at the Capri Theatre, and whilst the first two concerts and a showcase 2 days later for Warner's was not part of a wider tour, it was seen as the first chance for people to experience Prince live and for the record company to gauge their investment. It wasn't the greatest start. The hour-long performance, almost exclusively using material from the debut For You album, plus one new track, I Am You, was plagued by technical difficulties which halted the show for around 10 minutes. A relatively small crowd, and a clearly nervous Prince who was maintaining more eye contact with the band than the crowd, and was frequently not even facing the crowd. Despite that, the press in attendance saw promise, with John Bream, who stated that with careful direction, time, experience and refinement, Prince could have a royal future. At the Warner showcase, things were not hugely better, and whilst Warners were to an extent somewhat impressed, they made it clear that they felt Prince and his band were not ready to tour. I genuinely think this is one of the most important early defining moments for Prince as a live performer. Experiencing adversity does not make you great, it's how you react to that. Prince was initially distraught and reportedly close to tears. Prince felt that the performance just wasn't good enough and determined to work even harder to ensure Warner's gave him the green light to tour. Although initially clearly upsetting, Matt Fink believes that Warner's were actually, in retrospect, very smart about their decision. Their fledgling genius just needed a little more time to develop his stage persona, his moves, his style, and as Bobby Z noted, he didn't have the moves to slick it all up, and only experience will give you that. Prince spent some time recording in New York, but it was clear that the logistics of the music business required a manager to ensure the chaos kept at bay. Bob Cavallo and Joe Ruffalo stepped in and freed Prince up to do what he needed to do, create more music and push for the first Prince tour. Prince and his band started on the road on 26th of November 1979, and the fusion of style, genres and the band's sexual imagery was palpable. Prince's band was more fiery, more rocking than his albums had led audiences to believe. This was a challenge with some audiences simply not appreciating this new scene. Some concerts were very sparsely attended and venues regularly far from sold out. Some club performances only had a handful of people. Some audiences were also shocked by Prince's on-stage exploits with Gal Chapman. Steve Fagnoli, appointed by Cavallo and Ruffalo, was starting to make things happen. Prince's first television appearances on the Midnight Special and American Bandstand show raised Prince's profile further, although when the music stopped, this androgynous, spirited performer still seemed painfully shy. After a brief bout of pneumonia paused the tour, Prince started out again. The tour was entirely US based and took place in venues such as California, Texas, Colorado, LA, Ohio, New York, Boston, and of course Minneapolis. Prince even found time in the tour to make an appearance supporting Kool and the Gang. Prince and his band were honing their skills, but this was all about to be put up to the test by two big shocks to the Prince psyche: the Rick James tour and the infamous Rolling Stone concert. Until next time, thank you.